Welcome to Waffle Box, the podcast where we talk about anything, everything, and nothing all at the same time. Coming up on episode 34?
34.
What? 34. Longest blind date ever. The real life weekend at Bernie's. A new Fight Club ending, and so much more. I am Mike Fish, and I'm joined, as always, by the main man who's repping his victorious San Francisco 49ers is Mr. Kush Hayes. Kush, I was going to ask you how your weekend was, but I'm assuming you enjoyed it thoroughly.
What's good, y'all? Kush Hayes here, doing the happy dance. You know what? The 49ers game wasn't even on my radar. Like, I watched a little of the third quarter and then just went on with the rest of my day. I finally got my third booster right in the old shield here. And it is one of the most painful things I've endured in like very recent memory. Like, it's very uncomfortable to sleep at night, hard to lift your arm. Like, it was weird. They hit me here, but the ache was all here.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I guess it's each to their own. Because mine was like, the first one was pretty bad. The second one was horrible. And then the third one, I was expecting, oh my God, where is this going to go? But the third one was like nothing for me.
Second
Very
one,
strange.
I report a negative experience with my second one, but this one overshadowed it by a lot. So otherwise, again, 49ers are on the way to the finals, the playoffs, and they are due to take on the LA Rams. Can you confirm that, Michael?
I can indeed confirm that. Local rivalry.
Local rivalry. I don't know how much of a rivalry it is, but lots of dramas involved in this upcoming game, dude, because Super Bowl 54, 56.
Yes,
my Roman numerals are bad in my old age here with my glasses. Super Bowl coming up is in Los Angeles, so the Rams would definitely love to be there, and the city of Los Angeles would love for them to be there. Can the Niners do it though? They should have lost the last two games if we're just being honest.
They were very. I can't believe you missed the fourth quarter. That was where the money was. The last 2 minutes of the game. I heard
all the reaction downstairs.
Jeez.
Again, I was just busy.
But they were very good in that game. Don't get me wrong, but they were very fortunate to win the coin toss for overtime. That's what won the game.
Wow.
Because it was literally every possession touchdown. So if the Bills got the overtime first possession, then we might be singing from a different song sheet. Let's just say that.
The Bills.
Yeah, Buffalo's looking good this year, man. They were.
You're talking about a different game now. Okay, very cool.
No, they were just 49ers played the Bills, did they not?
The Packers.
Who the fuck am I talking about then?
I don't know.
Oh no, it was Kansas City played the Bills. Oh, that's a dumbass. It's red. It's all red to me. All I see is colors.
Okay. I know you see the hat, and you see in the glasses, and you even see that the professional jersey for the player who I don't know, Mike, but I don't know football. All I know is what's been significant about these last two games is we beat our rival in the 80s, then we beat our rival in the 90s. It's just kind of a shame that the Seahawks aren't in this next game. But so I've heard we're like out of the last six games against the Rams. I tried to get all football smart on you, and I lost the word. After the last 6 games, the Niners are 100%. It's 6-0. The last time the Rams and the Niners went head to head.
So it's scientifically proven to be. We've already won this game. What's even the point of playing it?
But also, this is usually where the Niners drop the ball. They get a little too confident with a stat like that. And next thing you know, they're doing the running man and just doing all sorts of little dances on the end zone and not focusing on the game. And that's usually when we lose these big ones.
It's usually when most people do. You'll keep your eye on the prize.
You keep saying that, but the Niners do it like no one else. So they are always snatching defeat from the jaws of victory.
Well, cheers to that.
Captain Brightside here, opening up the Waffle Box.
Yeah. Jesus. What else? Other than getting over the booster shots, you get up to anything else? Anything else exciting?
Not really. Unfortunately, there's no movie review for you tonight, kids. Like I could tell you about How I Met Your Father, but there's really only 3 episodes. Unlike Peacemaker, it's not a fair comparison. You haven't spent much time with these characters. It's a sitcom, and for those who liked How I Met Your Mother, like it took you a while to grow into that relationship, and that was a season of 20 episodes. This is only getting a limited run of 10. So
Well, good for them.
yeah, everyone's getting paid. Hopefully, there's a season 2 for them
Tell you
if they
about
want there to be.
medical stories before we dive in with our first story. So I had my
What happened to you, dude?
annual physical.
Wow,
Jesus,
a physical.
Just a physical, and they apparently, because it's also the first time I'd seen this doctor, so they wanted to do full range, so we should.
You're not dying, are you, dude?
Well, I don't know yet. Who knows?
Oh.
But I had to do some blood work, so I'm laying there now. Typically, this is my own fault, but as the people that can watch, sometimes they find it hard to discover veins on my arm.
Oh yeah, you are very
colored them in
there.
Very skinny and very colorful. So first this arm, boop, boop, boop. No, can't. No, then they stuck it in this arm, and apparently the vein collapsed, which apparently is a bad thing.
That's a bad thing
when they're trying to whatever. So, and then after all that poking around, I start going dizzy, and I'm like this close to blacking out. So I go to lay down.
You have a thing about needles, also.
Very much so. And I was like
really?
holding it together.
All those tattoos.
Well, it's different, isn't it? It's not going that deep into tattoos anyway.
It's
really not the same.
Okay.
But at least with this, I get a nice bit of artwork out of it. With that, let's get a band-aid. But yeah, so I was holding them together quite well, but then after like the third prick, I was like, no, I'm going down. But they couldn't find it, and so they ended up having to like use my hand, and they were like going into the veins in my hand, and they brought in someone nice to like sit with me and talk to me and distract me while it was all going on. But
that's always good.
I was literally there. Like, my only thing was walk in. Hey, I'm here to get some blood work at 9:30. Okay, in you go. I left at like 2 hours later.
Wow,
it was a whole
complicated.
And because of all the holes in my hand, I put a picture. I can't remember where. I think it might be my.
It's on Facebook.
But I look like a heroin addict. It looks ridiculous. I mean, I already kind of look like a heroin addict.
Or you were in a car crash, or just were admitted overnight. Like, there's a lot of things suspicious about that photo, man.
It's hilarious. People ask me like, "Are you okay? You're okay? Yeah, just getting a blood test. That's all."
So I have to imagine all those holes have to also have their own special little soreness or irritation to them right now, right?
No, I'm not. Yesterday,
because you missed a couple veins. Like,
yeah, yesterday I was very groggy. Like, all I wanted to do was relax and sleep, and I was very zen. That's the only good bit. After that, I was just physically, mentally drained after the blacking out and the 5 holes in my body. I was very zen. I'm just relaxed. I've got the anxiety out of the way. I'm done.
The first time I got blood drawn from me, it was with an intern. That's a brand new nurse who isn't officially on staff yet.
Or amateur,
still just learning. Well, I guess they're an amateur, but they went through the med school training and all that, and now this is their residency or whatever. They're still working on that next step to getting a paycheck, which is strange. But the nurse missed the vein, and like that sucker ached for a week. It took him 2 attempts before they finally got it in there. But it was ever since then, though, every other blood work I've had done, they've all hit the vein correctly. They've all complimented me on my veins. But Mike, next time you go in, I suggest you do what The Rock does and just get a couple push-ups in there, bro. Get that blood circulating, get the arms working, like.
Well, hopefully I don't have to go back in anytime soon. Jesus.
I was just pushing air right there, dude. I've already got some veins there. Look at that, man.
All right, let's change the subject.
I'm sorry you had sounds like you had a worse weekend than I did.
Oh no, the weekend was fine. That was Monday.
Well, you definitely had a worse Monday than I did.
Yeah, because then I had to drive home. So I was like, so I strategically, luckily, I had no, it was just because obviously I just momentarily blacked out, so I was kind of getting my woozy. But I strategically packed some like gummies in my car, so it was like I staggered back to my car, smoking a cigarette, and then I sat in the car and just sat there for like 10 minutes, munching on like just sugar, basically.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Not special gummies, which
No
is
special
good because
gummies.
you're behind the wheel here, so that's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah, none
What's your favorite gummy color, Mike?
green, everything green.
Really interesting. It's then it's very disappointing that we don't have the green M&M story on the docket tonight.
That's your.
Well, that's what Tucker Carlson is also mad about.
Of course,
he likes
he
his
is.
M&Ms hoard up, and apparently they gave her some sensible shoes or something, and now she's transgender. I don't have the story in front of me, but it's all completely ridiculous. Even if I got like 3 of those details incorrect,
It does sound like Tucker Carlson to get mad that they're changing his favorite M&M, that a fake character. It's not even real, Tucker. Relax. It's fucking M&M animated.
How am I supposed to jerk off to these M&Ms now? What the fuck, bro?
It was like when they made.
That's my Tucker Carlson impersonation.
Do you remember? I can't remember what episode we talked on, but do you remember when that comic came out where Batman's son was gay? Oh,
Mm-mm.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, Superman's son. Yeah,
Superman. Sorry, it was Superman's son. My bad.
Yeah.
But that was. It's like
people want to be mad
not real.
about anything.
It's not real, everyone. So stop getting so mad. Talking about things that are real and worst nightmares. So let's get into our first story this evening.
Yeah, we haven't got to the first story yet.
I know,
we're on
right?
a streak, baby.
This one is going to be
I think I run a good show so far.
As the bishop said to the. Anyway, this is gonna be a long one. Yeah, I shouldn't finish that joke. Anyway, so a young lady. So this is a cautionary tale, Selvery. So a young lady went on a blind date in China. She was Chinese. She wasn't like just I'm gonna go on a blind date. Where's my blind date? China. Fuck. I have to get a plane ticket. No, she was in China, but before she went on this. So this is a blind date set up by her parents. So this is this story is never good. So this young lady identified only as Miss Wang, which I don't know. This seems very stereotypical. It seems like the writer of the article was like Chinese, yeah, Mrs. Wang, that'll do. She said, "I'm getting quite old, so my parents arranged more than 10 blind dates for me." And she said this was her 5th date of those 10. And he was good at cooking and invited me to his house so we could cook a meal. So already now we're on tale number 2 here. So 1, don't go on blind dates set up by your parents. Bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
2nd, first date, he wants you to go to his place. I mean, hey, if you're into that kind of thing, I'm not going to judge or anything, but you don't know who the fuck this guy is. Anyway,
no, it's not unusual.
Not unusual to have fun with anyone. So in China, if you've been paying attention to the news, because there's this whole COVID nonsense still going on, apparently.
They go hard.
Word on the regulations. Street, they do go hard. And they literally, so people in America bitching about lockdowns over here, there's no notice. They go, oh, by the way, you're locked down now. Like if they decide you're locked down, and by lockdown, we're not talking about, oh, you can only go here if you really have to, you can go there. No, it's like you leave your house, you're fucked. Like, no, you are locked the shit down. And this happened in the middle of their date. So she was round basically a stranger's house when she found out, oh shit, we're on lockdown now. And this is my life now.
I have to wonder how far she actually get. Like, did she have this information before she could leave the apartment, or like did she get a block away and a cop cocked a gun on her, like get back inside the house?
No, so the article does state, it says during the meal she discovered that the community had gone into a swift lockdown due to cases of COVID-19, ended up being unable to leave his house for several days.
Jeez.
Could you even imagine? Like,
The story is about her, but I also got to feel bad for the dude in this story as well. Like,
yeah, he doesn't seem like the kind of guy who wants this to be happening.
no, or it's the worst. It's the next to worst case scenario. Hopefully, they all remain civil and everything. But like, there's got to be those awkward moments where like, oh, now I have a roommate for X number of days, and there was, in best case scenario, was going to be something physical, but there wasn't, and I actually need to work from home over here in the corner. But that chick is still on my couch. I gotta concentrate. Oh, now she's using my bathroom. Work. Why is she in the fucking kitchen? Like,
What is this hair in the sink?
What's the hair in the sink?
But yeah, so Mrs. Wang or Ms. Wang told me on Sunday that she had been stuck for 4 days at the time of her reporting this at her date's house, and the situation was quote unquote not ideal. She also added that he doesn't speak much.
Yeah, quiet, reserved dude who needs someone else's mom to hook him up on a blind date. Yeah.
Here's where I think this is going, or it's when.
Break it down, Mike.
So I reckon at some point where they're like, maybe even the first night, it's like, well, I cooked you a meal. You're stuck here anyway. So do you want to have some sexy time? And she was like, no. And he was like, oh, well, fuck this. And so that's why he doesn't talk much. He's like, oh, gee, I'm stuck with this. This bitch. She won't even give me any. I'm cooking her dinner every day. Ugh. And what's really more depressing is that in the story, I mean, it goes into like, you know, how many COVID cases, yada, yada. Not that we know that's the thing. But they said, where is it? Where is it? Wait, no, fill the time.
While you're looking.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, yeah. It did say it is unclear whether she still remains stuck at her date's house. So there's no end to this story.
Oh no. Oh fuck.
She might still be there.
Home by now.
Maybe they might be listening to this show right now. And if you are, Miss Wang, give us a shout out. We're not on WeChat, unfortunately. But can we join WeChat? Or is that literally just like internal Chinese thing? Because I know that's a social media platform.
No, I'm pretty sure I have not had the opportunity to try. So get back at us, folks. Can we join WeChat? Because I would love to talk to these two people, regardless of what the status is right now.
Ms. Wang, if you are listening,
back at their homes,
hit us up. Enjoy wafflebox@gmail.com. Let us know how things going. Send us some photos. Keep it classy. Does know how it's going on. But yeah, could you like what would you do?
Going back to the sexy time, you know, like it doesn't matter like how well the date is going at that point. Like he could be knocking it out of the park and like working on this for like 3.5 hours, and as soon as like he's like, so hey, how about it? And she drops even a soft no. Like she doesn't even have to be rude about it or just taken aback, or and she's like, yeah, no. I'm worried about how I get home now. Like that's the mood killer, and then everything is just silent for the next 4 days. Just worst strikeout ever. Oh, and she's still on my couch. He's probably a gentleman and offered her his room, and he took the couch.
Yeah, I reckon
that's what I'm painting the narrative.
If he did, that lasted a couple of days. Like after like 5 days, he's probably like, right, you're on the couch now. We're swapping.
That's fair. I think that's fair.
Maybe he didn't even. But yeah,
I hope they're both in their own apartments now. Well, just because, wow, that's worst blind date ever.
Worst. So
again,
cautionary
even if
tale.
Things were going great that night. Again, once that curfew goes into effect and everybody is now sheltered in place by the government, that'll make things drier than the Mojave or the Gobi Desert in this case.
Keep it topical.
Cochet is going foreign, going international.
But yeah, cautionary tale then, Syrup Squad. Don't go on blind dates. Sit up there, your mum.
That's good. That's good advice, everyone.
What was the other one? Don't go to his place, especially if you're in an area where they can drop a lockdown on you. Minutes no, just don't. Just meet. Go for coffee.
Coffee is not unreasonable, but hey, have dinner at my place isn't it's not unusual, Mike. I'm telling you, it's not unusual.
For anyone.
It's not out of place.
No. We're intersplicing Tom Jones into Chinese stories. This is what a show.
I love it, man. We got to work on a video now.
OnlyFans.
What's new, pussycat?
Whoa.
Wait, but that's all we can afford. We're gonna get hit with a copyright.
Yeah, keep it down. Next story. So, have you ever so this is another cautionary tale. If you ever want to go from A to Z and you can't be bothered to walk and you can't drive or you don't take the bus, take an Uber or a Lyft. Don't use local cabs. This is my now cautionary tale, except unless you're in New York, support those yellow cabs because they're honest, decent fellas. But I'll talk shit about San Francisco because I don't live there and he does, so he has to deal with the backlash. So there was another young lady.
No backlash here.
No backlash. That's not even a song. It's making that one up. So there's a young lady in San Francisco who went for a 1.1 mile yellow cab ride to a rooftop birthday dinner that took 11 minutes. Now, information, Mr. Hayes, as you're the local man on the street reporting live from San Francisco. So I'm sure, is yellow cabs there? Are they basically the same as like the yellow cabs in New York? They're just like the just a general public cabs that you can just hail on the street and things like that, or is this a separate entity?
Yeah, you can hail a yellow cab. You can also hail any cab in San Francisco. Rules are usually different county by county, but in San Francisco, if you see a cab, it's not full, you can wave it down. It's interesting that they're taking a cab because San Francisco is very Uber Lyft friendly now. Like it's hard not to get an Uber. It's weird if that thing takes more than 15 minutes too.
I feel
just
bad.
to arrive at the house.
I feel bad for the cabs now, but unless it's like a last minute decision, literally I'm like walking on the street and I'm like, oh, actually, I'm going to change where I'm going to go. I need a cab now. Oh, there's a cab. Wave it down. But other than that, I'm just like getting my phone out. I'm booking a car.
Well, I mean, it's also different experiences in different parts of the city. So I live out by the edge of San Francisco. And once upon a time, I lived out even further where, I was 3 blocks away from the beach. So it was hard. There's definitely not too many cabs running around that you could just hail down. You would have to call one out there. And if you're lucky, one would want to come out there. It would take about 20 to 25 minutes for it to arrive. So I had a shitty roommate. He would drink too much at night, oversleep, miss his alarm, and he would be late for work. So he would call like 5 different cab companies. Okay. First one that would show up, he would get into, because again, we're all the way out by the goddamn beach. So taxis don't want to go out there. But then 3 to 4 more cabs would show up and go like, hey, where's this guy? Like they would ring the doorbell aggressively. Like I'd be asleep because I work in the afternoon. So I'm, it's not unusual that I'm asleep at 10 a.m.
No,
but like, oh man, like what's going on? Like, we're here. You fucking called. They're like, dude, I'm in my boxers. I obviously didn't call you. And then
no one uses the phone in their boxers. Not savages.
Our house, my apartment got blacklisted from multiple cab companies because of this one dude. So, also we're out by Silicon Valley. So Uber started out here and they went to the yellow cab. I don't know if it's the same corporation that is in New York that is out here. Like cabs are just yellow, except for when they're navy blue.
Anyway, I
like,
feel
hey,
that we
have this new app. You should use it. And then the cab company went no. And then Uber just started. So that's why it's unusual that anyone's using a yellow cab in this story in San Francisco.
But yeah,
But it's
anyway, I
also
think
a shitty outcome.
we should dive more into the story because otherwise people would be thinking that we've highlighted a story where, this woman got a cab. It's like, whoa, they're losing their edge. But anyway, so after this 1.1 mile yellow cab ride that took 11 minutes, which shows like how much traffic was there. Like, you could probably walk 1.1 miles in
Probably could walk
15 minutes.
I usually do.
Saving money.
20, 25. Yeah,
maybe.
And that's a good walk. That's a good.
Yeah, it's a good mile walk. I'll take a nice
Lots of
walk.
hills though in San Francisco, so that's you always have to take that into.
So you don't know whether it's up or hill, up, down. Anyway,
we're going to assume these were up hills.
So this young lady's name's Margarita, which is it's always a good name to show that your parents were alcoholics. Paid via
Hispanic
credit card. All right, fine. Her parents are Hispanic or alcoholics. Or both. I don't judge.
Hispanics.
So she paid for this via her credit card using the driver's PayPal terminal.
Yeah.
So the meter showed $7.90. She added a 25% tip. What a lovely person. For a total of
good
$9.87. Yeah, for a 1 mile trip, 25% is awesome. The driver said she emailed a receipt, which never happened. The swine. So a few days later, her credit card bill arrived. Now, this is right. Where are we right now? Are we in like the 90s still, the 80s? Who waits until their credit card bill arrives? Am I the only one who has an app that even as soon as I swipe the card, I can check what's going on here?
I don't bank online because of all the stories I've heard about so-and-so's account being hacked and their funds being drained. I do not bank online. I still use the phone. I call the 800 number. It only asks me like for 4 digits now. I still hit them with the whole account number. And that's how I do my banking when I need to know what is in my account that day.
How do you live like that?
Very easy, actually. And then I do math in my head.
All right, brainy. Anyway, so this person who's apparently in the 1990s waited for her credit card bill to arrive. And she was astounded to see that she had been charged a whopping $9,875 for that short trip. 1,000 times more than it actually cost. They did the maths for us. So it seemed like an obvious mistake, the article reads, that the driver must have entered an extra digit. That's not how that works. Because if he did, then it would show up on the card reader before she tapped the card. But anyway.
She just came from a birthday party, had a couple drinks.
No, this was two. The trip was to the birthday.
Too busy, then distracted by getting to the party on time.
Maybe.
No one looked. No. Dude, when was the last time you read the fine print on your iTunes? All right.
No, that's
you hate I agree every fucking
discussion.
Time.
Reading the the terms and conditions of iTunes before an update is different than seeing how much I'm being charged by cab. It's not fine print. That's the big print. It's the main print. It's the main event, baby.
People misplace that decimal point very easily. It's just a little dot, And anyways.
Anyway, so she obviously thought, oh, this is an issue, and she called her Bank of America.
Shame on you, Bank of America.
I know I'm a Bank of America customer myself. You're making me feel bad. Come on, guys, Jesus. Eventually, the bank said it wasn't fraud since she had proffered.
She signed it.
Oh, her credit card herself.
They're taking your argument just like she signed the fucking thing.
This is how old is this story? Is this still signing things? I haven't signed anything for ages. It's all about
you can do a digital signature
or pin or whatever.
They will print out a physical receipt in that yellow cab, at least as of 5 years ago when I was in there, and then you will
that helps.
You'll sign this little slip of paper that is smaller than the width of these 2 fingers here, Mike Fish.
Easy with those fingers, Squish. So basically, long story short, Bank of America weren't going to be any help to her. So she was on the line for nearly $10,000, which is equivalent of 3 months' rent and utilities of a Redwood City house. So she's doing all right. She's paying like $3,500 a month.
He's definitely doing all right living out
Yeah.
here.
But here's what I love about this. So when she called the bank many times, often crying, agents told Becca that the merchant, the cab driver, said the transaction was legitimate. And then the bank was like, all right. Like, that's, again, Bank of America, come on. You know, I'm trying to make it look good, but your whole fraud system was, hey, this person charged me $10,000 when it should have been $10. Oh, really? Let me investigate. Bloop, 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 bloop. Hello? Yeah, this person said you charged them $10,000 instead of $10. No, it's fine. Oh, okay. Thanks for letting us know. That's it. That's their investigation.
I've heard B of A is really shitty about this, and again, this is why I don't do online banking. So I'm very thankful that I have not had this problem, because I hear about people like, I just went to the Shell station and used my credit card there in the pump, and that thing got hacked and they took everything. Like, I've heard those horror stories. So I absolutely believe there are two cunts in this story. One, B of A by a lot, but the cab driver also. And I get his POV. Like, hey, she signed the fucking thing. She should have read it better. I got $10,000 in my account now. Why shouldn't I have that? I get it. I get it. But what we haven't gotten to in your story yet, Mike, is that Yellow Cab did the research. They investigated the GPS. They by their race, they're like, yeah, 1.1 miles. No, that should not have been $10,000.
Yeah, they could have done more. They could have reached out, or maybe they, because by the end of it,
they did whatever they could. All right, Yellow Cab agreed. You should not be having this problem. I think, no, B of A is still the dick in this. She went through like 2 or 3 bodies that went like, yeah, you should be absolutely getting a refund on this. And the only ones that gave her the problem was A, the cab driver, and B of A. B of A eventually changes their mind because the San Francisco Chronicle and probably KGO, ABC7, and most of the major media affiliates out here that do that Crime Stoppers nonsense, or Better Business on Your Side, they're like, we're going to write a nasty article about you. And then they finally reversed it. But this is like a horror story.
it is. Again, what is their fraud department doing? Because it says also here that the one they claim that the transaction was legitimate because they had a receipt signed by her, although it didn't match any of her signatures.
Again, it's a very small. I'm not joking, Mike. It's a very small receipt, dude. I wish.
No, but what I'm saying is, obviously,
one of my boxes if I had any of those.
She didn't sign it, obviously, by the sound of it, because the signature didn't match her own signature.
Bro, I dare you to look at this piece of paper that I'm literally telling you about, and I dare you to actually match the signature that is on your New Jersey driver's license or your passport or whatever ID that you use to this day.
And I can. My signature is awesome. It's on point. Same every time. It's like a photocopy.
Fascinating.
I mean,
I got a pretty good signature too, but I tell you, it don't look like the ID, like the signature on my ID. I promise you that. It's
probably very brag about the simplicity of my signature in case anyone listens to this and forges it. But yeah.
The good news is she got her money back.
Eventually.
She went through a lot of bullshit.
But shame on you, Bank of America. Shame on you.
I have a friend who lives in New York, Mike, just across the bridge from you. And this story is maybe 20 years old now, but it was late one night, went to a bodega, had a couple pops under his breath, bought a simple burrito. It should have been $1.50 in post 9/11 prices, like, 2002, 2003. I forget when this is happening, but $1.50. They charged him $150 by accident. It's one extra digit on that console out there. And with that technology at the time, he signed it because he was drunk, and they caught him on a technicality, and the banks couldn't reverse it, and that fucked him up with his rent and everything else for like months. He had to borrow money, and then he had to borrow money to say it was a whole thing. But yeah. This happens all the time.
At least good.
I asked him. It was not.
Oh, that's the
Again,
real
it's one of
high
those
for the
frozen
story.
pieces of shits that he had to microwave there in the bodega. No, it was not the best burrito.
There you go, kids. Double check and get good burritos. That's the moral of this
Everywhere
story.
I go that I use my credit card or my ATM card, always keep the receipt, guys. And there's times where someone's just lazy enough and doesn't want to give you the receipt. Insist on getting that fucking receipt. It's not okay. And it's just because of those two stories. One was much longer than the other. That might be my fault. But get the receipt and look at the receipt.
And also, just make your signature look completely different. And then if you want to argue it, you can be like, "That's not my signature. Who is this person?
That's not my signature.
Let's get your money back." Boom. Look at that. We're all growing as humans. Anyway, let's move on to our movie-inspired section.
Ooh, what's that? What's that? Is the Batman 4 hours long?
Yeah. Oh, don't get started on that. Don't get me goddamn started on the fucking Batman being 3 hours long, not even including credits. Who do they think they are, DC, huh? You haven't got a good track record. Who are you to tell me I'm going to sit in the fucking movie theater for 3 hours and watch your shit? No. I'll wait till it's on HBO. Fucking motherfuckers.
Ooh, I hope you take that stand, Mike. I
fucking will.
It's sexy.
Like, don't get me wrong, like, I'm interested. Out of all the DC movies, the Batman movies tend to be the best movies that they produce. Obviously, I know it's different directors, different producers, blah, 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 blah. But it seems to be a track
I hear what
record.
you're saying.
Not obviously, there are some Batman movies that aren't that also, but typically, if you were to list all the DC movies, Batman movies would be at the top. Anyway, but they haven't had a great track record lately. And to just have the balls to say you have to sit there for 3 hours and hope it's good. No, the world has changed, my friend. I don't have to do that anymore. If I think it's going to be trash,
it's changing.
If it was like 2 hours long, I'd give it a shot, but I'm not. Because I don't want to do that and then risk the whole. Because I will walk out if it's terrible. I will do that, but I'm not going to waste my money. So now I don't have to. So now I can go, no, let's wait a couple of months. Because Warner Brothers are stupid. They're just going to put it on HBO pretty soon anyway. So I'll just wait.
What is the last movie you walked out on?
The Twilight.
Last movie you walked out of a theater.
I can't remember the exact one, but it was one of the James Bond movies. I can't remember which James Bond movie.
The Daniel Craig films?
Was it a Daniel Craig one? I don't know. I honestly can't remember. But I remember it being a James Bond movie. And about an hour and a half in, I was like, you know what? Fuck this shit. Oh, no. Actually, no.
Was it Pierce Brosnan?
Here's a fun story. I can't remember what movie it was, but this might be the last movie I walked out on.
Break it down.
And it wasn't because it was a movie, hence why I can't remember what the movie was. But it was a date that I was on, right?
Ooh.
And there was already like some weird signs. This woman was a little bit not on the level.
Mm-hmm.
She was a little bit sketchy. And a little bit like unstable, shall we say.
Oh, no.
And so I'm just thinking, you know what? Screw it. I pay for the tickets. What's the worst that's going to happen? We're going to be sitting in a movie theater, not talking, watching a movie. Let me just watch it, enjoy the movie. Whatever. What's the worst that could happen? About 12, maybe 10 minutes into the movie, as I'm like sitting there watching the movie like this, I can just see out the corner of my eye her just staring at me, not even paying any attention to the movie.
Doing this bullshit, just
staring a hole in the side of my head. And I was everything okay? Yeah, okay. And then went on, same thing, just looking at my face.
She might have liked you though.
Oh, obviously. And then after after a while, I was like, no, I can't do this. And I just walked out. And then she followed. It doesn't
sound like it was the movie's fault.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Uncomfortable with the attention.
That's why I did say it wasn't the movie's fault, but that was the last time I was out of a movie there because I was with this crazy bitch.
And that was a James Bond film?
No, that was another time.
That was a different
I just said I can't remember the name of the movie.
That's interesting.
I feel like you're not listening to me.
I'm listening to you, man, but just I remember my worst date at the movie. You know, it's.
Did you burn yourself?
I was
in
in
the popcorn
Miami,
with the hole?
Florida. I'm sorry. Oh, the popcorn in the hole. No, I've
now
never done that. I don't want to get salt in my dick, man. What the fuck?
Now I just spilt beer all over my keyboard.
Oh no. You're gonna need
True
a lot
story.
of rice for that one. No.
Anyway,
The worst movie date I was already in a relationship with, and it was we had already saying once upon a time on the Waffle Box, I told you, warned you about going on a Carnival cruise or just any cruise for that matter. Like if there's a danger that you and your girl are gonna have an argument, don't go on a cruise. It doesn't matter. Like if you leave the room, go
like
on
a
a
floating
deck,
prison.
whatever, like you're still there with her. It doesn't matter. So we finally got back to Miami, and I ended up seeing Garden State.
Okay.
It was not a good time. Although the funniest thing was, as we were ascending the escalator, on the opposite side, descending the escalator, my lady fair would go like, "It's Rosie O'Donnell." Now, me being a total asshole, I thought she was just making a fat joke at some random woman, but it was absolutely Rosie O'Donnell out of makeup with her two adopted children.
Does that technically make you the asshole?
I just said I'm the asshole.
Oh dear.
But this was it was a bad movie. It was a bad experience. It was terribly hot, and I did not know like how hot Miami got. Like I've been to LA, I've been in the Mojave Desert, all that nonsense. But Miami in jeans, not a good time, bro.
So basically, Rosie O'Donnell's not going to come on this show anytime soon.
She definitely ain't coming on this show, bro. No. Even before the story. So might as well just tell that.
Now there's going to be people upset about that. They're probably looking forward to Rosie O'Donnell's appearance in the Waffle Box.
I don't think Rosie O'Donnell's audience is watching this show, but if they are, feel coming.
Anyway, where was we going with this? Okay, yes, movie-inspired stories. So everyone loves, or at least knows of, the story Weekend at Bernie's with the famous, the two kids have to drag around the dead body, make pretend that it's alive. So even though that came out, that was late 80s, early 90s? What was that?
The original Weekend at Bernie's came out in the mid 80s, and it's one of those movies that cost so little to make and made so much because of the physical humor, and like the stunt guy who played Bernie got injured multiple times because like his head is literally being dragged down a set of stairs. Just it got a sequel. It was as ridiculous as it was. It got a sequel.
Wouldn't he be starting to smell by the sequel?
That didn't seem to matter, but despite the fact that it had been like 4 years since in between the films, it was a matter of days in the story.
Anyway, so this,
cadavers don't shit in Weekend at Bernie's.
So this story is definitely one of those, and I think I can't remember the exact wordage, quote unquote, how I put it to Kush when I sent him the story, but this is pretty much one of those stories where you shouldn't really laugh, but the way that the article is written, you just can't help but not. Like, it's hilarious. So here's the headline. Normally I like to avoid the headline because it kind of ruins the story, but I feel this it adds to the story in this point. A man who took his dead uncle into an Irish post office to claim his pension insists he didn't realize he had passed away. I'm hooked. So basically, a guy named Declan Huney said that he and another man took this man, Peter Doyle, 66, on a 5-minute walk from his home in Politan Road in Carlow, Ireland, to collect his pension last Friday morning. The 40-year-old said he had lived with his uncle throughout his life and believes he may have died on the way to the post office.
Not impossible.
Not impossible. He said he and another man linked arms with him and dragged him to the post office. Okay, Um, and I quote, "He was walking like normal, and then I reckon he died," he said, adding that Mr. Doyle started dragging his heels at one point.
Yeah.
We were
All this sounds so bad.
we
This
were
is a BBC story, or at least that's where your source is.
no, I think this was the Sky News. I think
Sky News. Okay.
yeah,
Still important. Still
very
important.
important. We were grand. Then we were grand. Like then, all of a sudden, okay. News reporters. Sometimes you don't have to use the actual quote when the person talking is an idiot. Like you don't need to write word for word. We were grand. Like then, all of a sudden, he started going all slumpy.
It makes sense in Gaelic. It makes sense to the Gaelic audience reading this.
I know. This is almost one of the best quotes. This is the second best quote in this article. We thought nothing of it because Peter had heart attacks and all. You know him. He's always having heart attacks. A crazy bastard.
Having a heart attack.
Oh, what is he like? Probably never one of those heart attack things. Never mind. Let's go to the post office, Uncle. Fucking hell.
So if I don't know what your experience with Saturday Night Live is, but in the 80s, George Wendt would make various guest appearances as one of the Chicago super fans, and they'd always like the Bears, and they love Michael Jordan, and obviously they love the Chicago Bears, and multiple times, at least once every episode, George Wendt's character would have a fucking heart attack. And like, that's an even dozen there, Bob. Like, just the whole thing about the Midwest and Chicago residents just having just totally unhealthy. Not impossible that this guy is prone to multiple heart attacks as well. However, having said all that, Mike Fish, I feel like this is a dude who owed some gambling debts, was being dragged to the bank, and then just thankfully possibly had a heart attack and died on the way there.
Yeah. So what is so that the second best quote where he had heart attacks and all is followed by the best quote in the story where he said they let him go at the post office counter and it was only after he dropped to the floor that they realized he had died. That was the kicker. Then he was like, so obviously the people were questioning, like, well, is this man obviously just dragging this uncle's dead body to the post office, trying to claim his pension in hopes to, steal his pension? And
could happen. Has probably happened.
And Declan is like, no, how dare you even think that? Because he said he believes he is being falsely accused of trying to claim his uncle's pension because he'd previously stole from his aunt and served 2 years in prison. So he'd already stole from this man's wife and served prison time for it. But then why would you think I'd steal from this man? That's preposterous. How could you even think that?
OM Jesus.
And then he adds on some of the quotes, again, written down word for word. Why would I want to rob my uncle? I'm 40 years of age, yeah? I'm not a child. I'm not a young fella. I'm not an idiot to walk into hoses with a dead man and collect his money. Am I cuckoo? Am I cuckoo? I'm not. Now,
you might be a little cuckoo.
If you're not cuckoo, quote unquote, that's probably not the
maybe
best.
My gambling debt theory holds weight.
He's definitely I'm saying, but as of right now, as of writing this, he's not been arrested. There's no foul play because the coroner couldn't set the exact time of date, so I don't know whether he was dead before he got dragged to the post office or just died at the post office. So at the moment, this man is free.
Fascinating.
But it's definitely a sketchy story as hell. Made me laugh way more than it probably should. I feel bad. Rest in peace. But that was 100. That's gonna be one of those.
There's definitely a lot to laugh at in this story, but
it's gonna be one of those stories where the police are kind of like, we know you're up to something, but we just unfortunately
there's gonna be a follow-up to this on a future Waffle Box, Mike Fish, and I insist.
I hope so.
Keep us posted on this, but like, Yeah, man. This is one of those things where like the dude died in front of them, and they're like, we gotta get him to the bank and get that last check. Let's go. Or again, like some situation where they were trying to strong arm this dude out of cash, and he died on the way to the bank.
A mail like
It's definitely one of those.
in for a penny and for a pound. Just keep going.
Just keep going. Like you can't put him in the trash can. Well, and if he dies at the bank, well, that's our alibi. He died right there.
I hope he was wearing sunglasses and they just did the whole hello. Moving his mouth for him and everything. And then they try.
He was definitely only wearing sunglasses after his death. Okay, I don't think he died at the bank.
All the cool dead kids
we
are
will
wearing
have to
sunglasses.
We'll have to follow up on this.
Yes, hopefully to be continued on that one. But
we talked about Spencer Baby Dick Eldridge way more than I thought we would, so this will definitely have a follow up.
I hope so. Next,
get on Sky News.
Get onto Sky News. What are you doing? You damn. What's his face? Fucking who's the guy that owns Fox News?
Rupert Murdoch.
Yeah, Rupert Murdoch. Get your Sky News cronies onto it. Anyway, next movie-related story. Now, everyone adores, and we're going back. So we're going back to where we started. We're going back to the land of China. Everyone remembers the wonderful 1999 psychological thriller Fight Club, starring Brad Pitt and Ed Norton.
I want you to hit me in the face as hard as you can. Don't sue us, Joe Blow.
So recently, I don't know why this is all of a sudden come around, but apparently the Chinese government weren't too happy with how the ending of Fight Club happens. Now I feel it's safe to say that we can post spoilers here, right? If you haven't seen Fight Club yet, that's on you now. Okay, this isn't one of those
24 years old. We should be able to now.
So basically, the whole purpose. I'm not going to try to sum up the whole Fight Club thing because it's but basically, it's just to bring down, bring a level playing field, get everyone's money down to zero, take down the corporations and the banks. So there's no rich and there's poor. Everyone's on a level playing field. We're going to blow up these buildings and yada, 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 yada. I know it's a very, very terrible for summarization of the final, but that's basically the gist of it, right?
The theme of Fight Club is anarchy, but the ending is very communist, is where we're all equal. The debt has been wiped clean. Like we're blowing up these 4 to 6 to 8 buildings, and they're all credit card companies, and then the debt will be wiped clean. It's probably not how it worked even in 1998. However, they changed this ending.
Yeah, apparently Chinese authorities weren't too keen on that message.
Not everyone's equal.
And they didn't want people getting ideas. So in an amazing editing job, I guess. So again,
where does the edit start? Do we know?
Okay, yes. So if everyone who's familiar with Fight Club, get the ending in your mind, right? Okay, close your eyes. Let's think. Okay.
But where at the ending? The ending is long.
Here's the ending. Okay, this is. I'm going to describe the ending of Fight Club, and then I'm going to cut in with the Chinese edit. Okay, so
hit me.
Narrator Ed Norton has just shot himself in the face to kill Brad Pitt, right? And Helen Bonham Carter. I'm terrible at remembering the character's name.
Scene, by the way. You're like, fuck.
It is a very violent scene. And
light glows out of his cheek when that bullet wound exits.
And I'm still not quite understanding how that kills Brad Pitt, but anyway.
Traumatic enough.
That's another story for another episode. So Helen Bonham Carter, who I'm terrible at characters' names, but she walks in.
It's okay.
And Ed Norton goes, "You've met me at a very strange time in my life." And then they turn to the window. The Pixies, "Where Is My Mind" plays, and that's when the buildings start blowing up, right? Now, in the Chinese version, he says, "You've met me at a very strange time in my life." And they turn to the window, black screen.
Okay.
So before the explosions ever hit,
So I just
black
look at the
screen.
horizon.
So there's a black screen in, and then this text box pops up, and it says, "Through the clues provided by Tyler, the police rapidly figured out the whole plan and arrested all criminals, successfully preventing the bomb from exploding. After the trial, Tyler was sent to a lunatic asylum receiving psychological treatment. He was discharged from the hospital in 2012. The end." Wow. Wow. That is not just an edit job. That is like they have just changed everything. That is like, do you remember did you ever watch The Simpsons? Was you a big Simpsons guy?
Yeah.
Do you remember
Seen
when
The Simpsons
Homer
all the way up to season 21?
Okay, so do you remember that episode where Homer voices Poochie
Yes.
from Itch's, and then at the end it was like, "Poochie returned to his home planet and died on the way." Like this is at that kind of level of editing. Like that's incredible.
We have to wonder in this case how much 20th Century Fox, now owned by Disney, was involved in this edit, because China doesn't allow any American movie in there. So one, how long has Fight Club been in China at this point? And two, did Disney authorize this edit?
Well, this is like the probably the biggest one they've done, because they've edited movies I've seen in the past, but I think this is like the first one.
They've edited all sorts of movies we don't know about.
Yeah, but this is like the first one to at least, I say, brought to my attention, as if everyone's fucking telling me everything that's going on. But the biggest one where it just changes the whole point of the movie, because in the list, so they've obviously, with Bohemian Rhapsody, the Queen story, they edited out a lot of the homosexual stuff. Oh, don't like that.
Which wasn't very present. Like,
no,
he's
it
still
wasn't
flamboyant, even with like.
But yeah,
anyway, go on.
Can't be gay in China.
No gays in China.
And then they removed nudity and some violence from Logan, the X-Men movie.
Oh, interesting.
2017. But this might be my favorite experience, like example, except for the Fight Club one. So in Iron Man 3, there is a point where Tony Stark, Iron Man, is like, oh, he's in a bad shape. Is he going to survive before the end of the movie? Oh my God, he might die. Oh no. And then he's like aided by a doctor. In the Chinese version, they have just literally spliced a Chinese doctor who saves.
Okay.
So the Chinese man is the hero of the movie, which, I mean, it's not a big deal, but I just find it funny anyway. That they're like,
that's an interesting idea.
There's too many white people in this movie. Let's put a Chinese hero in there.
Well, so one of the biggest Chinese controversies I know of, well, I guess two. One is they don't just allow, again, every American movie to come over there. They it's very regulated. Like, I don't know if it's 5 or 8 or 10, but like only so many American movies can cross over into China. Having said that, when Ghostbusters 2016 made its attempt and hoping to bank on China because it's the biggest movie demographic out there. It just is.
Okay. Were they upset with the fact there was too many bitches in there?
They didn't care about the bitches. They cared about the ghosts. They're like, no. Our communist government will not allow your movie about specters and witchcraft into this country.
So is that?
They didn't even get to the part where like one of the Ghostbusters might be gay, and it's still ambiguous in the American cut. But they didn't get that far. They're just like, no, we're not gonna allow ghosts.
So what did they do? CGI them into like rats or something?
They did not allow Ghostbusters 2016 into the country of China, and therefore it bombed hard. Like they were really hoping for China, depending on what trade magazine you read.
Bless them. Well, there we go. That's why. That's why. Do you remember when John Cena had to backtrack and talk shit about, was it Hong Kong or something? Because he didn't want to upset China.
He mentioned he was promoting Fast 9, and he said something about Malaysia being its own country or Tibet being its own country.
Tibet. I think it was Tibet. I think it was Tibet.
Fuck that nonsense. And then
John Cena was like,
thankfully,
whoa.
John Cena spent the last 10 years learning Mandarin to promote WWE Network over there. So he just spoke a bunch of Chinese. I was about to do a terrible.
Like, sorry. I'm so sorry. Please let me put my movie in your country. I need all the money, please. I'm sorry.
Universal made him do that shit, and he complied.
What a little bitch.
I don't know how I feel about that. But get your paper, John Cena, because you're doing it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say it's your face, but you're a bitch. Yeah. Anyway.
Fish, everybody.
I know. I'm just standing up to the little guy. Stand up to the little guy. That's what I do. Let's talk about then. Let's wrap this show up with our feel good / lighthearted story of the week. So yeah, this week's feel good story is a feel good story, but it's also another cautionary tale where, unless you want to be fucked with, make sure you're being very literal in your text messages. So we're going to go from China to Ireland to China, and now we're down under in Australia, where this man texts his neighbor and asked him to take out his trash. So
he's a good neighbor, FYI.
Very good neighbor. So his neighbor was like, all right. And so he literally took out the garbage for a day trip around Australia. So he took his garbage can. They went to the beach for a stroll. His number, where they put the house number on the garbage to make sure that they know which one's which. He took it to a tattoo parlor and got some new artwork put on there. They went to a drive-through restaurant. Where else? I think he went to go get him cleaned as well. And all the while, he was just taking all these photos and sending them to the owner of this garbage bin, going, "Hey, we're having such a great day. I'm so glad you asked me to take him out." It's not very deep story, but I giggled my ass off at this. It's hilarious. You should definitely look up this story. Look at the photos. This guy went all out to take this bin out, this trash can out. For what a day. What a day.
The smell is the biggest thing on my mind. Okay, well, no one ever thinks about the smell.
I'm going to assume the first stop on the trip was to the washing, because there's a picture where someone was washing the bin.
Oh, shit. Right on. Okay.
So, yeah, I think he took it to to get water cleaned first, and then because you never know if it tastes like sour shit, and it's like dragging it around all day.
Yes, because you sent me the article, I skimmed it, but I saw people hugging the bin.
There's what the
kissing fuck is wrong with Australians?
There's a picture of someone kissing the bin as well.
Okay, that's what I'm probably mistaking it for then. I was hoping it wasn't kissing the trash bin, but if they thoroughly washed it with power washers and all that shit, okay. Still weird, but okay.
But yeah, so apparently they went all the way around. He said 5 hours on a day out in his hometown with this trash bin, sending a photo album of the day's events, which reportedly blew Nick, the owner, blew him away. How
do you respond to that as the trash bin owner? This is weird behavior. It's funny. I'm laughing, but what's happening here, man? What is the point?
What's really weird here is that after going around, noticing the presence of the bin, some garbage men and women stopped to take a picture with it. And later, the green bin, now sporting her tattoo, stopped to make a phone call to talk trash. But so the bins are her, by the way. The bin, apparently, according to this article,
they're all hers.
It's a female bin.
It's a car. It's a house. It's a building. It's a ship. They're all hers.
Oh yeah. So the guy owner told the Guardian that putting a smile on, the guy who took the trash out, literally told the Guardian that putting a smile on people's faces, especially his neighbors, was totally worth it, especially since MacLeod is a town that relies on tourism and so was hit hard during lockdowns. He said of his neighbor, "We catch up for a beer when we can and have a chat and a few laughs. He's a beautiful person. You do anything for him." He said, "Take out my bin." If he had said, "Put out my bin," it would have been just a normal day. Ha 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 ha. But what about his neighbor? Like, we catch up for a beer when we can. He's your neighbor. If you want to, just fucking do it.
Yeah.
Like, if you've gone out your way so much to take his garbage bin out for a 5-hour trip around town, I'm sure you can nip next door and go, knock, 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 want a beer?
Mm-hmm.
Madness. But yeah, that's my...
Like, I know the next 3 houses over, kind of. Only one of them I might ask out for a beer, but I would rather we hang out on their porch. And then even then, they're so busy, I don't know that they would be able to do that. Having said that, that feels like a very English or European thing, but I also don't know how prevalent that is in Australia.
What you should do is you should go to your neighbor's house. Okay. And just be like, obviously the trash day has to be the next day. And you should be like, "Hey, would you like me to take your trash out tomorrow?" And see what they say.
We have a community dumpster in the garage.
Is that a big one?
It gets emptied daily. Thankfully, they're really good about it too. However, we don't have that situation. And before that, Sunset Scavenger would come by and pick up everybody's trash cans door by door. It'd be very loud. It was very disturbing. But that's been at least 20 years. So we don't even have that kind of contact. It's not as... If anything, I'm like, "Hey, these trash bags you're leaving in front of your house because we don't have trash cans here anymore, they're attracting raccoons." And then then you become the dude who's just like telling you how to live your life, and you're like the asshole all of a sudden, despite the fact that
this is how it dance.
Yeah. So we at least in this one patch of the geo, we don't have that luxury of saying like, "Hey, I'd love to take your trash can out for a night. Let's go, bro."
So in Australia, you got a young man saying, "Yeah, I'll take your trash can out," and then he literally takes him out on a date, I guess. Where then we come all the way back.
Bored, but I have to imagine
we come all the way back to San Francisco, and we have Kush Hayes just yelling at his neighbors, "Do you have raccoons? Fucking bastards!"
Dude, you let me know how you feel when a raccoon just jumps on your skull from a treetop. There you go. You deal with that. You catch those rabies, Mike Fish.
I will. In that very specific situation,
you will, and then the next Waffle Box will be, "I'm sorry to report that Mike Fish is no longer a part of the Waffle Box show.
No, I'll just be here with a raccoon on my head.
Family will do everything we can to replace him and not his memory, but honor it."
Yeah, well, whenever a raccoon launches himself from a tree and attaches itself to my head, the first thing I will do is take a selfie and I'll send it to you.
They got opposable thumbs, Mike. They're gonna fuck you up.
Although I might have to use like WhatsApp or Twitter because for some reason you're on Android still.
I am still on Android. You can text me those photos still if you want.
But it takes longer to send. I'm not about
worth
that
the wait.
Is it
worth the wait?
Oh, I mean, to be fair, it would be if there's ever got a raccoon on my head. I mean, time is money. Time is money.
Bro, we got in this neighborhood, we got raccoons, we got possums, we got skunks. We've had coyotes almost a decade now.
I've got coyotes. Coyotes and deer back here.
We don't have deer, but I'm sure they're close. I'm sure they're close.
There's some big bastards as well. But one day I went out there. I saw, because I generally, I don't know whether it's
Even
the
the
women and the
babies.
kids that you only see, but no, for the first time I saw like Big Daddy Kane back there. With his like,
Word.
he looked like a cow with these
He's gonna
giant
fuck you up.
fucking antlers. But
Mhm.
Jesus. And he looked at me, he gave me a look, and I was like, I nope, I'm just having a cigarette. I mean, you know, it will, my friend.
Right.
But he did,
My
because
aunt and
I
uncle
sat
used to
down.
live in Oh,
I sat down, and he gave me that look of like, yeah, I'm watching you, and then went back to his thing. Right.
Good. My aunt and uncle used to live in Redondo Beach. As the majority of time I've been alive, or at least conscious. They most recently moved. Redondo Beach is 5 hours south of me. They most recently moved to Sonoma County, which is two and a half, 3 hours northeast of me. Okay. And the last time I got to see them was Christmas 2019. And sure enough, when we got there at 11 in the morning, maybe 1 p.m., there was a goddamn deer just strolling through their backyard. Just like it was the thing to do. And I was like, this is amazing. And obviously I took a bunch of pictures, but yeah, dangerous.
Yeah, and it's really cool. Yeah, I've had where I've been lounging out there, and they'll just walk around me, because I guess they know, like, look at this puny human. Oh, fuck him up if he tries anything. So they don't care. They're just walking around me, which is pretty cool. But they do have a lot of like fleas and ticks and shit. So I don't want to get to it. It would be nice to have a pet deer, but I don't want to touch them.
You would have to fuck the deer to contract those fleas and ticks. Otherwise, you're gonna be okay, buddy. I know you're from
I'm not gonna do that.
I know you're close to Scotland, but I know that's not a thing you're gonna deal with.
Yeah, I'm before we end the show, just want to disclaimer: I'm not gonna fuck a deer.
Thank
Seems
all
like
the
a
gods.
very strange. We have taken a journey tonight, Kush. We have gone from a weird blind date to fucking deers.
Fucking livestock. Yeah, man.
All cautionary tales. Don't go on blind dates that your parents set up. Don't fuck deers.
Don't give out your credit card information.
Don't give your credit
to random taxi cabs.
And in all
or
three of
check
those,
the receipt.
And in all three of those situations, wear a condom. Just saying.
That's your final thought, Jerry Springer.
Take care of yourselves and wrap it up. Right. That's a good place to wrap it. Let's talk about the next 7 days, what we've got to look forward to next week. I think next week is next week's February, officially start February. So we've got a lot of things to announce for people to look forward to, because we're going to have some extra bonus content in the month of February on the Waffle Box feed for you to look forward to. But more information on that next week. But for the next 7 days, what are the good people got to look forward to on the BossNet family, Mr. Cushase?
On this next edition of the Microdose, we're bringing back a fan favorite, Drew Angelman. We're going to talk a little bit about his best of 2021. We're also going to talk about what we should expect in 2022. And despite the fact that we're already in January, that's still subject to approval. Like it's things are still being delayed. Things are still unnecessary. Things that are still on the itinerary we don't know about. But you check out the Waffle Box this Friday. We're going to tell you about it.
No, this is the Waffle Box. Check out the Microdose.
This is the Waffle Box?
This is the the Waffle Box. That's the Microdose.
That makes total sense. Much better sense. Go check out the Waffle Box this Friday, kids.
Or the Microdose.
It's going to be a good time. He's always fun.
He's what a guy that guy is. He's a great guy.
He is a great guy. You should have him on the show. If not this show, a show.
Just try and stop me.
You're an impresario of digital content, Mike Fish. The Mike Fish show. I just discovered that on Twitter.
We'll get to that next week.
Oh shit, son. My bad. You're gonna have to
There
edit
we
that
go.
out.
A little
Chop.
cliffhanger. No cliffhanger. Now the people are like, wait, what is this? Now I need to tune in next week to find out what they're talking about. Man
All
of
right,
mystery.
well, that was my
Man of
intention the
mystery.
entire time.
Secret agent man. Secret agent man. It took away.
If today is Wednesday, I am seeing Moonfall tonight, which is a week earlier than everybody else. So I hope to have a review on the next Waffle Box for Moonfall, which should be a good time. Which should be like Don't Look Up, but more entertaining. Not as serious. Much more popcorn.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So yeah, for all of those links, make sure to catch up on all the shows that are coming up in the next 7 days and all the shows that have happened in the past. Go to bosnet.family to check out all of those. If you do want to check out more links about this show, make sure you go to enjoywafflebox.com. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. Mike Fish. Follow that guy, that joker over here. At Kush_Hayes. But until next week, make sure to look after yourselves
Wherever.
and each other.